Hey, what's going on, all you minties? This is the Uncanny Omar with this guy.
Hey, this is Rob64. What's going on?
Hope everybody's having a good Tuesday morning. Today, you're going to get a double dosage of live episodes. Rob and I are doing our video game hauls this morning. We'll let
Yep.
a few more people come in because it is early. And we didn't give anybody a heads up. And then Maddie and I are back to doing Old Reader, New Reader tonight with Absolute Swamp Thing Volume 1.
Cool. So let me just first say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Yeah, to you too, man. To you too.
I hope 2019 is good and 2020 is much better. Prosperous.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yep.
Yeah, same here, man. Prosperous. So, I got a lot of things for Christmas. Bought a couple things myself, but mainly got a lot of things. I can go through my first pile. My first stack, not a pile, not a giant pile like I do my comics.
Well, ironically enough, I did not get a ton of things.
You didn't get a ton of things, really? Do you just shop every other day except for Christmas?
Basically, that's kind of what happens. We have this thing called buy ban where I'm not allowed to buy things in the month of November and December. Mm-hmm. So all the pre-orders kind of dry up and I don't buy stuff. Also, December's not like most games come out in the September, October, November timeframe.
Right.
Yeah. So
see, but you're like me when it comes to collected editions of comics. You buy things as they come out.
Right.
I do that with books. I buy video games when I feel like I need to play something. And apparently my entire family and friends thought I needed to play a lot of Switch games. Everything here is a Switch, with the exception of some really cool things that my buddy Kyle sent me for Christmas. And I'll go ahead and show that off. And
all right.
6:04 a.m. Let me get my coffee. Soul King, what a guy. Thank you for joining us. And to everybody that is joining us live, thank you so much. It is early morning, but it is one of the few times here that we can get together to do this. I'm pouring one out for Rob's wife, /Nerf.
Dude, you have no idea. She's so angry most of the time.
What's up, Shy Warrior?
What's up, Shy Warrior?
So yeah, good morning to everybody. I assume it's morning. Maybe we'll get some viewers from outside of the country. But let's get started. And then this is you know what? I'll save that for last. This is a really cool. What's up, Charlie? How's it going? Nerdy by nature. Shout out to him. He has his own podcast.
Thanks.
Do you know what this is? First of all, because I didn't know what this is until I opened the box.
Yes, I do know what that is.
What's up, Eli Die?
Why don't you talk about that a little bit?
I don't know what it is. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay.
What is this, Rum?
So Ubisoft and Nintendo teamed up. Well, not just Nintendo, but Ubisoft wanted their own incarnation of the concept of an amiibo, like collectible toys to go with the game.
Oh, yeah, that didn't work well.
Well, so the Starlink game itself is actually a pretty cool game.
It's not a Star Fox game. It's a Starlink game.
Correct. So it is a Starlink game, and it's on multiple platforms. But on the Switch, Ubisoft teamed up with Nintendo to release like Star Fox characters and toys to go with it. So when they first came out, they were super expensive, and now they are not quite as expensive.
Not quite. Yeah, he was like, it didn't do as well, but it was still a fun game. I wanted you to have it, but this is one of the few things he got me. He got a lot. I'll show him the last thing he got me, which is really awesome. I think you would appreciate here in a little bit. But shout out to Rick Nelson for opening up this video instead of...
Oh, that's so sweet, right?
Opening up his work email. What's up, Matthew? Yes, more game hoarding. More game hoarding.
That game, so the Starlink game itself is actually pretty fun. It's not It's not terrible.
Okay. I'm going to go through some games that, let's see, some of these Kyle games he got me. You will probably know what these are.
Okay.
The first one, so this is one of the few PS4 games, Defenders of Ekron.
I do not know what that is.
You suck. This is an East Asia exclusive, and if you know, I've opened up some East Asia games here before. They're beautiful, man. Like the way they have the game in the box, and then I haven't played this one yet. And then they have the soundtrack, and then the limited edition because they're all numbered. I don't know if you can see. Can you all see that number? It's like 1281 out of 1500.
Yes, yes. And there's a code I'm going to enter to get all the DLC.
Go for it. Good day. Good day, lads. I'm here. 1 a.m. in Sydney.
My
Hello,
goodness.
Sydney.
Sydney.
Nocturne, toss us some of those muffins, please.
That
And
is one place
then
I've not been to is Sydney. We need to
this
like.
really cool looking game, uh, Lethal Justice, I think it's what it's called. Lethal
Gosh,
Justice Blaze. But from the back of it, it looks like and I'm just blown away a little bit. Here, let me open it up really quick because I know how
that's
much
pretty.
you love when I open
Why
up
are you
games.
opening things? Games are not meant to be open.
You're an idiot. It looks like freaking Jet Set Radio. This is the
wow.
art book. It's a Japanese exclusive, but even the character designs look like Jet Set Radio. And because him and I have talked about how much we love Jet Set Radio and how much we did not like Jet Set Future. Oh, there's even a character named Jet. Look at that.
Yeah, that's a coincidence. That's beautiful. Man, Kyle is the man. That is a really
He
cool.
is a really good dude. He is a really good dude. It comes with a card or a sticker, and then the actual game. So it looks like it's 4 players.
Okay.
Maybe I'll be an American so I can play it. Actually, most of the games he gets me are like in English. This is Dead or School, Japan only. I just got this in. I haven't opened it up.
Okay, I do know what Dead or School is because when we released our game Friday 13th in Japan, Dead
Uh-huh.
or School came out the same day. So like our game was at the top of the chart, and then right next to it was.
You guys, Friday the 13th
Move.
outsold Dead or School in
I didn't
Japan?
say it. I didn't say it outsold. I said it was right next to in the eShop.
Oh, okay, like a Kmart.
Yeah.
Japanese Kmart, whatever it is. But this is what is it? Is it an RPG? It looks like a fighting RPG game. I haven't opened it up yet.
Yeah, don't ever. It's a sexy fighter. Sexy fighter.
All right, and then we have another East Asia exclusive. This is the limited edition of Dimension Drive.
Goodness.
These are awesome, and I think he gets them from Play Asia. Yeah, dude hooks me up, man. He's like, "This is the video game you need to play." Here, hold on just a second. So here's it comes with a soundtrack, cards, and then of course the limited edition number. But it comes with an art book, and you know how much I love art books. It's a shooter, by the way.
That's beautiful.
And it's got character designs. Yeah, these East Asia games are no joke. And the thing is about these games, these limited edition games, and I know you can agree with me here, is that they know in Play Asia that America doesn't get physical copies of these games, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's why they release physical things over there, and they release them in dual languages too, because they know that people that play these games in English will import them because that's us. Us older gamers and some young gamers too like physical release of video games.
And I don't know if that's nostalgia or if that's preservation.
Stupidity. It's stupidity. It really is.
I mean, think about when
we're going to run out of space.
We just had Christmas, right? So think about when you were 12 years old
and getting one game.
And yes, and it was The Adventure of Link, and you open it up, and it
was like Dino Ricky for me. My mom and dad didn't know anything about video games, and I was like,
Deadly Towers, whatever. So
and I was like, shit, yeah, Dino Ricky. I love Dino Ricky.
Deadly Towers, Dino Ricky, and The Legend of Zelda.
Dino Ricky. Iron Sword 2 with Fabio on the cover. Or no, was that one? All right.
It smelled so good. The manual, you could touch it. It was color. So I don't know if that's like nostalgia in us, or that the fact that, okay, we've seen how digital games disappear, like Alan Wake and things like that. We want to make sure we can play these games again. So
Alan Wake, which is such a travesty because that game is awesome.
Oh, you can play Control, which is by the same guys. Should have been Game of the Year.
I don't want to play Control. I want to play Alan Wake. All right, your turn, my dude.
All right. So you were speaking of, and again, I don't have as many games this time because I was trying to reel back to honor my spouse and family. And releases got kind of dried up. But you were talking about games from Play Asia. This is Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII, the physical edition.
Fight Melanie and I got into because I said, we're buying the game, we're buying the physical game. And she's like, I want to play it right now. And I'm like, it's going to come out physically later. And this is my wife, by the way. I was telling Rob about this because he would appreciate it. We got into this it wasn't even an argument. It was me just throwing a bitch fest because I'm like, no, we're getting the physical copy. and she went ahead and bought the digital download because she's a grown-ass woman. I was like, fine, you win.
So this
finally came out.
Yeah, it finally came out, and this is actually really significant because if you recall back in the 32-bit wars back in the day, Final Fantasy VI had come out on the Super Nintendo, and Final Fantasy VII was going to come out on the Nintendo 64. There are images of like CG characters.
There's video.
Videos and stuff. It was an SGI demo. But then turned out that, the medium of cartridges just wasn't enough to hold all the things that Square Enix. Was it Square Enix or Square back then?
It was Squaresoft back then.
Yeah, Squaresoft. They wanted to do, right? So this came out on the PlayStation. So this is the first time that Final Fantasy VII...
Can you give me a history lesson on Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII has been on a cartridge, on a physical media for a Nintendo system. So this is significant. So Final Fantasy VII. And then Final Fantasy VIII is the remix version of, I gave Final Fantasy VIII a lot of grief back in the day.
It's still that bad.
It's not as bad as
No, you were right. It was bad.
I said it didn't have any soul, but it's still romantic. It's fine. It's fine. Music's really good. Battles are fine. It's fine. This is fine. So, physical edition of Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII. All right. You want to go? You want me to go another one?
Go for it, man. No, you keep going. I got a couple more. I got more.
Okay. Speaking of games that tickle the feels of nostalgia and have taken a long time to come out, we've talked about this on the show. Shovel Knight. This is Shovel Knight.
Whoa, I got the same game. My brother got me that.
Yeah, so this includes Shovel Knight. Look, old man glasses. There it is. Shovel Knight, Shovel Hope, Plague of Shadows, Spectre of... I'm totally messing this up because I can't see. King of Cards, and Shovel Knight Showdown. So what's cool about this is if you've ever played a Shovel Knight game, these are old school.
All the downloadable content.
Yeah, all the DLC in one pack. Now, I pre-ordered this back in December of 2017. And it came out December 12th of this year. So I've had this on pre-order for a long time. Forgot about even that I had it, and then it showed up. I was like, "Oh, cool, Shovel Knight!" So this is really neat. This is physical edition. It's all the DLC. If you've not played it, it's almost like someone reached back in time to a Capcom old classic game and brought it to the future. It's fantastic, wonderful. I can't recommend Shovel Knight enough. So, all right, why don't you go ahead and give one?
Sure, man. Let's see. Okay. So I showed Shovel Knight. Here's a couple more gifts from my brothers that were like, "Oh, you need to get into." My mom and dad got me some games too. This is really cool. I guess they
seriously, wow.
Yes, they talked to my brothers. So Battle Chef Brigade.
Yeah.
This is the physical copy of it.
Where did they come up with? Yeah,
limited run game did this about a year ago or so.
Yeah.
So you get a nice little booklet, and then the game, because it's a downloadable game, but it's a puzzle cooking game, and yeah, it's weird. I have, just like my taste in comics vary from superheroes to independent stuff to manga. Like my taste in video games are the same, except for I never really got around to. Yeah, man, I know people won't like hearing this, but I never liked the Western RPGs. So speaking of RPGs, though, I did get Dragon Quest.
Freaking finally!
11.
See what my shirt is? See my shirt? What, you can't
Dude, did you see my shirt?
Oh my gosh, my kids.
Jurassic Park.
My kids. So I have an we can talk about this, and I'll talk about this more later. But I have an arcade 1-up cabinet that I modified, the Street Fighter one, and I put a Pandora's Box 6 in it. That's a complete different. We're going to do that in an upcoming episode of Near Mint Condition on the panel. We're going to talk about that.
You all heard that.
But 1,300 games are on this thing,
So you put a MAME emulator on it?
It's not MAME, but it's essentially it's like MAME, right?
So it's essentially legal what you did. Everything is legal.
Oh, everything. I bought it like this, so it must be legal. If I bought it like this and had the games on it, then it must be legal, right?
Exactly. Right. If it was meant to be hacked, then absolutely it's legal. Sure. Yeah, Rob.
Exactly. So, loopholes. So again, I'll talk about this later, but I upgraded the buttons, the joystick. Added a LCD digitizer. I had to learn a lot of soldering and hacking and slashing. So it has real buttons, real joystick, and it has this Pandora's Box 6 in it. And I get to select like 100 games that are favorited that, like, my kids can easily select. So it's stuff like, Samurai Showdown and very child appropriate games, Mortal Kombat, stuff like that. But it's also Bubble Bobble. And just as a joke, like, hey kids, won't you all, not a joke, but just like, here, try this game.
Bubble's legit.
They
like awesome.
They love it. Like, it is not uncommon for them to sneak downstairs and just play Bubble Bobble together for rounds and rounds and rounds and rounds. Thank goodness the game is free, that they can just put in how many quarters that they want. But yeah, nice work with the Bubble Bobble. Nice work.
My brother got me this shirt, so that's why I'm wearing it.
But let's talk about Dragon Quest 11.
Yeah, so I finally got Dragon Quest 11. I'm setting it aside for now. Right now, I'm going through Monster Boy, and we can go back to that in a minute, which I absolutely love. This is the successor, by the way. It comes with a little booklet. It's not even limited edition, but it comes with a little booklet. If you know anything about me, I was very excited when I bought the limited run games Wonder Boy remake of Wonder Boy and Monsterland.
Yes.
This is Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. This is the successor to Wonder Boy. So, beautiful graphics. It's a pretty easy side scroller, so I'm having fun. I went through some shooters, like Raiden 5. What was the other couple? Sin Mora. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
Quick little game. So this is a good question while I look at some of the other games I got. How do these games look and play on the Switch? Because here's something I did get that I know you've talked about. This is Bloodstained. It's not the limited edition. It's just the standard edition. I got it when it was on sale. I think at Best Buy for like $15. Mm-hmm. This one is one that I did buy, though. Because I've heard that this runs better on the PS4.
Okay.
And why is that? This is a 16-bit looking, 32-bit at most looking game.
Okay.
Because going back to Rick's question.
Yeah, so the game, yes, it does play at 60 frames a second on
Nocturne. Thank you.
On the PlayStation 4, and it plays at 30 frames a second on the Switch. And there were performance issues with it at first, but those have since been ironed out. So it now plays a lot better. But there were serious performance issues on that game, and it's using Unreal Engine 4. So if you are familiar with Unreal games, so actually Dragon Quest 11 and a bunch of games are games. You all use Unreal Engine. Like, it's a very popular engine. But even though it scales between different platforms, you can only get so much performance out of the Switch. It is what it is. Not to sound like the Irishman, but it is what it is. Mm-hmm. So yeah, the resolution is slightly cut. Some of the details of the textures are slightly cut. The frame rate is cut from 60 to 30. But all that said, there's a patch that just came out for it like a month ago, and it irons out a lot of the performance drops that will come. So it's still going to be at 30 frames a second, but it's consistent and smooth. There's not like bunches of delays and pausing and loading when you're going between like stages and stuff. So it's fine. And the thing is, when you're playing it on the Switch, like in handheld mode, like, you don't notice. It's still
talking about this. Yes. It's only when it's in full screen.
Yeah, well, even then, even when it's full screen, it's a little bit more noticeable because it's a 1080 on your big screen. But when you're holding it in handheld mode, it's fine. It's fine. And the game itself, even though it's running at half the frame rate of the PS4, it's now a consistent 30 frames, so it's still smooth and fine. So if I can only choose it for one system, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I can only choose for one system. I would probably still get it on the Switch because it's portable. I can take it wherever I want to. But if you want the best performance, the best looking, that would be the PS4.
Gotcha. And then the other thing I bought for myself this holiday, because I didn't. Oh no, a couple of limited run games came in, and some things I bid for that I forgot about came in. I got Valkyria Chronicles 4. This was on sale, and I went ahead and got it because I really love the first one. I have the third one, and I haven't played it. That's how bad I am. But I figured maybe I'm delusional. I'll try to play this one on the Switch.
I have Valkyrie 4 also on maybe Switch. Is that the one that came with a tank?
Yes.
Yeah. I got the one that came with a tank.
You got the tank?
Yes. Ask me if I've
never played a game. You've never played a Valkyrie Chronicles.
The original. Okay, so that's the thing.
You're putting Sega's kids through college.
I am. I bought the tank because the tank was on sale. It was like super cheap. Best Buy was closing them out. But I played the original Valkyrie Chronicles on PSP, and play a lot of that. So we didn't talk more about Dragon Quest.
We got a lot of games to cover.
All right,
So why
I'll
don't
do.
you go ahead and then we'll come back to me.
All right, I'll do one.
Go back and forth, back and forth. By the
That's
way, anybody just joining? Greatest shirt ever. I got one. My favorite gift, I have to say, was made by my wife, and I'll show that off here in a little bit. But you go ahead, man.
okay. So, Dragon Quest. The reason I'm super excited about Dragon Quest is not that I
Are
bought.
we going back to Dragon Quest? I just said talk about the games.
Yeah, we are going to talk about the games, and we got time. We got time. But the reason I'm
All right.
excited about this is because I bought the game originally on PS4, September 4th, 2018. Right? Wait, yeah, that's right. 2018. And I just beat it over the Christmas break. And I mean, like, just beat it as in, like, Sunday. I finally finished the game. And I was going to try and beat it at the beginning of Christmas break. And I was 135 hours into it. And I was like, all right, I'm going to, because without spoiling anything, there's the end boss, and then there's, like, the actual end. So I'm 135 hours in, and all I have to do.
135. I'm too old for that.
No, again, I have 6 jobs, 35 children.
You have 1 job, 3 kids. Don't exaggerate.
I have 6 jobs. Why are you so lazy, man? So, so I'm like, all right, 135 hours in. All I have to do is push the up button on my controller, and I can initiate the last boss sequence, right? But then I'm like, there's a couple more quests I want to do. So I ended up putting in another, over Christmas break, another 35 hours. So I got everyone's upgraded, like armor.
Wait. What? How many hours are you up to altogether?
So when I finished it, so again, this happens Saturday. I did the fight, and he wiped me clean. Like, poosh. I was like, I'm level 99. What did I do wrong?
You sucked is what you did.
Apparently. But then on Sunday, I did it again. It was like, then I wiped him clean. It was fine. So by the time the actual credits rolled, I was 170 hours.
No. All right, I'm selling. Anybody want to buy a copy of Dragon Quest 11?
But again, like I said, everyone's 99. Everyone has.
Are you telling me that the only way to beat the end boss is if I'm at level 199 or not just level 99?
No. You don't have to do it the way I did it. You have to do it.
I'm not doing it the way you did it. I'm gonna take the easy route. Is there an easy mode?
No, there's a 2D mode. So I bought it again on Switch because I want to play.
Of course you did. Did you get the beautiful edition or whatever it's called with the metal box?
Yeah, didn't we do an unboxing on that?
I don't remember what you buy.
I think we did. If we didn't,
I don't know if you did or not.
Or next time.
The bidding war has begun. I will give you $1 for. I assume that's Dragon Quest, not Dairy Queen.
Well, I think that's
Rob,
Dairy
is
Queen. I
that
don't think it's
PS4 games on that shelf above your head? Most of those are. I see Oculus Rift not Oculus Rift, Octopath Traveler.
Thank you, Nocturne. Like, yes, I felt it's the reason I'm spending like 10 minutes talking about this because I beat 170-hour RPG.
How did you not release a video the day you did it? Because everybody had already beaten it last year. Or 2 years ago when the game came out.
So now I'm really excited.
Show your game.
I'm excited that you have the game on Switch. So now I have no one to talk to about it other than like one of my buddies in Japan. It's the only person I know that's completed the game, like for real. So I'm glad you have it. We can talk about it. It's awesome. Go play Dragon Quest 11.
By the way, this is called the Definitive Edition, and let me just tell you, this is bare bones ass bullshit. Like, there's not even any writing on the inside. Some dude's butt with his sword, and I'm not knocking that. Cool, whatever. Yeah. Visually, sure. But then I clear through your artwork. How is this the definitive edition?
What's definitive? I'm glad you asked, Omar. What's the
I'm just kidding. Don't answer that question. Show me your haul.
Answer the question. The reason it's definitive is because it comes with it. The music in the PS4 version is like the digital synthesized version, and it's not that great. But the Switch version has the symphonic orchestral mixes. It has Japanese voices, which are not. In Japan, it did not have any voices. America, we get English voices and Japanese, like full voices. It also has a bunch of side quests and extra content from the 3DS and all the 3DS version had like you can visit old Dragon Quest games and do stuff in them. So it's all that stuff in it. It has additional side quests from all the characters. There's a ton of content in it, and you can even switch out the music for Dragon Quest 8 music. So and you can ride extra animals, and there's extra enemies, and there's extra fights. Like it is the definitive edition. So that's why I had to play it again because I had to go through all this stuff again. It's fine. Gotcha. I'm looking forward to it. All right. So good job. I'm glad you did Dragon Quest. Now I'm going to do So I'm with this. The rest of my stuff is no. I got one more thing that's new.
I know I got a couple limited run game stuff that you should have gotten.
Okay, well we'll see. Let's see. So this is January, and my children, all their birthdays are in October. So that's cake and steak all throughout the month of October. And then November we have Thanksgiving, so that's a bunch of junky food. And then December's Christmas, gingerbread houses and sweets and cookies. So needless to say, with 3 children, with all of them with a sweet tooth, I put on some weight over the holidays. So the way to fix that is
You're never gonna play that.
Yeah, so this is January.
Go join a gym.
I can join a gym, or I can play Ring Fit.
Or you can keep that in a box up there with your PS4 limited editions.
No. Did I open this yet? No, I haven't.
Of course you haven't.
I haven't. But I am going to. Yeah, I did open it. Yeah, there we go. I thought so. I thought I opened it. All right. So Ring Fit Adventure is an RPG-esque Wii. If you ever played Wii Fit and Wii,
well, I saw my wife play it.
Wii Fit. Was it Wii Fit Adventure? I forget. Anyway, so this is you put a ring on one thing on your leg, and this band has high tension in it. So there's like jumping and exercises and things like that you can do, and then you're in a fantasy world and you do stuff in an RPG type setting. So if you have to exercise, it's like fun. So this is January, and I'm going to start playing this thing to try and peel off some of those October pounds that I put on.
I want to see your online score for that stupid game.
So this game, back in the day, Wii Fit, I used to do that like all the time, right? And I would get on the scale, and I'm not a big guy.
No, you're not.
Big guy. So I would get on the scale, and it would go, you're obese. I'm like, what? Because my body fat content is not, I guess.
Honestly, did you put it in Japanese mode?
Maybe it's tuned the Japanese audience, but I mean, like, dude, this is all steel. This I'm dense, right?
So, all right. What else? Wait, is that all you had, or do you have? You had a couple more things. I know you have a couple more things. I have a couple more things, and then
let me do another game.
A little bit about what games we're excited for in 2020 when we have time.
Okay, so this is Deadly Premonition Collector's Edition Origins. So if you know anything about what Deadly Premonitions is, this is a this game is kind of a janky mess, but it's a really cool mess. The guy who made it, his name's Sui, and he's a Japanese developer. It's bad voice acting, bad animation, completely random story. It doesn't make any sense. It's so goofy and silly, but it's trying to be very serious with this paranormal activity. Let me read the back. Shockingly tasteless, fragrantly stupid, and subtly self-aware. 10 out of 10. It's fantastic. So this game has been out on like other systems before, and it's just now released on the Nintendo Switch in a collector's edition form. Mm-hmm. So
who's the publisher?
This was published by Axis Games.
Oh yeah, they're still around. Good.
Yep. So this is cool. I got this directly from their website, and it came with some metal pins, a nice case, and a soundtrack to like Bit Trick games, which I don't understand that, and a bonus Green Veil map. So this is the reason that this is cool is because the second Deadly Premonition is exclusive. I think exclusive or limitedly exclusive to the Nintendo Switch. So to celebrate that, they brought out the first one. Again, it's so random. Let's see. Sounds like a Japan game. Yes, it is. I don't know if you're talking about Deadly Premonition Soul King, but this is definitely a very Japanese game. But I'm looking forward to going through this because even though I have played it, I never did go through it because it was just so random. So there you go. Deadly Premonition Origins. Be sure to pre-order the second one coming out later on this year on Switch. I got 3 more games.
I got a lot. So let me knock these out. So there are some limited run games that I got into a bidding war on, but I think I've been wanting them for a while. But then some limited run games that came in. So I got here. Let me go into full screen really quick. River City Girls. This is available already for download. It's been available for download for a long time. In the tradition of River City Ransom, which, hey, John Williams, what's up, man?
Oh my God, John Williams! I just saw you on How the Movies That Made Us. It's so great.
We make that joke every time. I'm sure the guy gets tired of it.
Sorry.
It's a side scroller beat 'em up, old school style, and this is River City Girls. So based on that River City Ransom.
I have played that game, and it's a lot of fun, and I gave it to my sister-in-law.
So I got Shantae,
Nice. Yes, those are both
I guess
great.
this is 3 and 4. Or
Pirate Curse. I don't remember which one it is. I have the standard edition. I don't have the fancy pants edition.
okay, so this is the limited run edition. Finally got it. And then there was a bundle for both of them on eBay, and that's what I got into a bidding war on. So this is Half Genie Hero Ultimate Edition Day 1. They both come with an art box. I'm a big fan of Way Forward games. They are awesome. Ever since they remade DuckTales, I've been a big fan of them. And then they did Mighty Switch Force. That never got a physical release. I was a big fan of that.
They also did Contra 4 for the DS.
What's that?
Contra 4 for the DS. They did that.
Oh, they did. Yes, they did. Here's some more Japanese games. We have, oh my gosh, STV.
I don't know what that is.
This is a Kyle sent me this one actually. It's a shooter. It's an M2 shooter.
Oh, okay. Okay, so is it vertical?
Yes.
Okay, vertical shooter.
Vertical.
Okay, yes.
Old school. There's an arcade. ESP. It's ESP something. Rave.
I don't know.
ESP Raid. I don't know. He sends me these obscure shooters that he's like, you're gonna love it, man. And then this one right here, Danmaku Unlimited. No, I showed that off already. Never mind. That was last month.
Show it again.
Nope,
So
I got. Here's another limited run game that I ended up getting, or two more that came in. These all came in at the same time. I forget that I pre-ordered these months ago.
Merry Christmas.
Yeah, no kidding. Luminous Avenger.
Oh yeah. I saw those. I did not.
And then Fairy Fencer Advent Dark Force. What a title!
I didn't know what those were, so I did not pre-order. I did not put.
They're JRPGs.
Okay.
Yeah, there are JRPGs. So that's two more, and then I've got three more things to show off.
Okay. All right. So I'll
go ahead and do you, man.
Yeah. So limited run they did on New Year's.
Wait a minute. Hmm? Yes.
Fake fan. Standard edition. That's true. There's like, even though I am one to drop a penny in limited run games. I usually get the standard editions of things unless like I have a real affinity for like Ys or Zelda or whatever. This is true. Fake fan. You're right. But they did a sale on January 1, which, okay, if you are a fan of limited run stuff, like put January 1 on your calendar. So I was actually able to get in an order of a few things that I had been missing. So one of those things is
show it.
Metal Slug.
You got the Neo Geo box. That's beautiful.
Metal Slug 3. And so
like you gotta be a real, can I just say, you have to be a real Neo Geo Metal Slug 3 fan. Now, Metal Slug 2 to me is my favorite. Metal Slug 2 is my favorite. Everybody has a favorite Metal Slug. We're sounding like two old guys here. Back in our day, characters, not 5. But anyway,
I'm with you. Metal Slug 2 is probably my favorite.
Is that your favorite? Okay. But that is so awesome that you got that, man, because I thought about it, right? And here is my logic. I was like, I can't get this because I know that they might have a collection of Metal Gear on sometime, right?
Oh.
All the Metal Gear games. And they may, like, a legit, whoever owns the right to the Neo Geo stuff now.
It's SK Playmore. They have it.
So they still have it. Okay. So there's a small chance that
they could come out with a big compilation or something, and this will be a box. I understand where you're coming from. For me, I
keep that sealed.
It's sealed. I will never ever open this because I own a Neo Geo AES system, and I own not the AES version of Metal Slug, but I own the MVS version, the big MVS cartridge of Metal Slug 3, and because the AES version of Metal Slug, and again, I will drop money on an arcade game in a heartbeat, right? It's like $1,200 for the home version. What this is, the actual AES version of this, $1,200. I can't do it. I can't justify it because again, I have the game over there. Then it costs like
$1,200.
Yeah, like maybe someone who has access. Hey, if anyone has the internet on their phone, Go do an eBay search and tell me how much Metal Slug 3, the AES version is. It's at least $1,000, guaranteed.
Dude, there's one here for $34.55.
My God, push the button! So because I can
go.
never own an AES version of Metal Slug 3, and this comes in a box, and these boxes are authentic. They are legit. Maybe if I can run back and go grab one real quick. But this is exactly how it would have come as an AES game. So it costs more than I wanted to spend, but I'm a Metal Slug guy. This is one of the last releases on Vita. Like, let's do it. So, Metal Slug 3. Boom. I will do another one real quick.
Go for it, dude.
We've talked about this is really a nostalgic kind of holiday for me buying games. I picked up Aladdin and Lion King, and you notice
you know how hard that game is.
Oh yeah, it's terribly hard.
Wait, Aladdin is one of the hardest games.
Aladdin, I finished it on the Genesis, I think.
Soul King is saying 5,000.
5,000. There it is. Like, there's no chance. Like, if I won the lottery, I still couldn't justify spending $5,000 on a game that it's the same. They literally, the same board is just in a box, in a pretty home edition box. I can't do it. Although, if y'all want to support our Patreon, then maybe we can work something out.
Wait a minute.
So anyway, these games are now. What's interesting about this is Lion King and Aladdin were different on the Genesis and Super Nintendo.
Yep.
So this is the Super Nintendo, and I think this release, I think these are both based on the Genesis version. Someone can correct me, right? So even though this is a Super Nintendo box, the games are based on the Genesis editions of them. So there are two versions of these collectors, these old school releases. There's one that came in a Super Nintendo box like this, and then there's another one that came in a Genesis box, a Genesis style box. I opted for the Super Nintendo because I was a Nintendo kid back in the day, and these are exclusive to Best Buy. And if you like these games back in the day, they're, like Omar said, they're tough, but they're fun. They still play fine. They still are good. So Aladdin,
which was the superior version?
Well, it depends on who you ask.
I'm asking you.
Well, since you're asking me, the graphics were better on the Super Nintendo version. I think gameplay was probably better on the Genesis, and it pains me to say such things like that because as a Nintendo guy, like I almost got everything on that one. But I think the Genesis version of Aladdin was better. I think the Super Nintendo version of Lion King was a little bit better. So there you go. That's my thought on that. I got one more game and then some hardware. So you want to go? You want me to go?
Let me see. Let me go, and then you can show your game.
Okay. All right.
And then we go back to the hardware.
I just supported Patreon. This is Matthew. I just supported Patreon last night. I demand $5,000 be spent on some silly game.
Damn it, Matthew!
That's it. You see it right there. What buy the game? That Patreon money is going to go toward that bid.
Look at that. Amanda would be proud of that Patreon plug, Rob. She would. She joined me for a couple of videos. We're going to try to do some more if time permits. Okay. Back to me. I got two more things I wanted to show.
Right.
And then, okay, so I've been looking for this one, and I went ahead and cracked it.
You found it.
Yeah, I found it. They've gone down a lot, man. Like this was under $100. Not as cheap as it was, when it came out.
It came out at $70. So if you paid under $100, like that's fine.
It was like $70, I think, when it came out. So I finally found it, and here it is. It is the Fire Emblem 3 Houses. I'm sure you all have seen plenty of unboxing, but I mean, I don't mind. It's got an art book. Wow, that's kind of cool.
I'll turn only Tina cares about Bart's Nightmare.
Yeah, Bart's Nightmare. I saw that comment. I was hoping you'd read it. So one thing about Fire Emblem, though, here, let me
use up full screen. Show it off.
I got you. One thing about Fire Emblem and me is that I forgot I haven't played Fire Emblem in a long time. Like I own the 3DS limited edition one that you and I fought for, tooth and nail. You almost got kicked out of Best Buy for that.
Oh yeah, that was awful. Don't make me tell this. I think
the last one I played was on the DS. Because I've played them all, even the ones on emulators and things like that. These are just beautiful character designs. So I forgot about that. I'm like, wait a minute, I haven't even played the one. I played the one on the Wii. I did play the one on the Wii, but I haven't played the 3DS one. I haven't played them in a long time. I'm like, do I still like them? right?
Good
So
question. Good
I
question.
guess I'm about to find out because my dumbass bought this limited edition. It comes with a metal case. You know, I'm probably gonna toss that. Don't hate metal cases. I'm just kidding. I
Stay
know.
with the face.
Uh, I don't know if y'all are familiar with these things. They're compact disc. Apparently, you can
Compact
hear
disc.
music better on it.
Is that like an MP3 that's been flattened?
Yeah, there's little There's like a calendar in here. Kind of
Gosh.
reminds me of the limited edition box set of Castlevania, which would be cool. Oh wait, okay, cool. The game is in here.
Oh, good. It came
Because
with the game.
it doesn't come. It comes to game, right? It
It's not a
doesn't come
DLC
with
code.
like a box, right? It doesn't come with a box. Like, sometimes they give you the metal box and the real box. The real box.
It's a game.
The game box, right? This
But that
came
one
with.
the steel case, which I'm like, that's where it should be anyway. I'm cool with
Okay, my man. What you got? Then we
I
can
got
talk about some 2020
got
games.
one more
And
game,
thank you everybody for joining us. I know it's early morning places or it's late.
yeah, we really appreciate.
Amanda needs to come back. She's awesome, Omar.
No, the comment you
No,
need to
no,
hear is without
awesome.
Amanda, Near Condition would be Omar sitting in his basement drooling over his X-Men books. Amen, somebody.
I am not showing her that damn comment. She'll get a big ass head. I'm having lunch with her tomorrow. She'll get a big ass head and be like, "Oh, see, I told you."
Yeah, Amanda's wonderful. We love Amanda.
Yeah, she is, and
So
we are very blessed to still have her. I sound like she's still alive. Anyway, what do you got? I'm putting stuff away, so I can't think. There you go. There you go.
Okay. So I have one more game and then some hardware, and then we can talk about 2020. All right.
Okay, I got hardware and that's it. So
Okay.
you go ahead and show
So the
yourself.
last game I want to talk about is this is a game called Hardcore. Okay, it's not Hardcore anymore. It's called Ultracore. So you all have probably recall me talking about the Mega SG and the Analog NT, Super NT, and some of these classic systems that are FPGA and they allow you to play old school games in HDMI upres and beautiful and perfect with real legit cartridges. Ultracore was one of the games that was on the Mega SG, and this is a really cool game. This game never came out. It was created by a company called Dice. Oh, actually, excuse me. The company back when this was a thing was called Digital Illusions, but Digital Illusions is Dice. So Dice are the people that make Battlefield and Star Wars Battlefront. Like, they are still around. They're EA. So this game, Ultracore, is very similar to games like Turricane. It's a side scroller, or Contra, side scroller shooting game, and strictly limited games did a physical edition of this. Now, granted, technically, I have this game on my Mega SG. It's built into this, but the fact that there's a physical edition and it came with look, I am opening it. I have opened it. It came with a actual Genesis cartridge, and I can play this on a real Genesis. And it came with this game manual. See,
Whoa, I gotta admit, that's cool, man.
It's in color. You have to learn how to read these games. I think you can still pre-order this. I think it's still available on their site. Tips and tricks. Shoot the monsters. Like that's a great trick right there. Notes if you want to take down notes.
Shoot the monster.
Monsters. Yeah, that is actually one of the tips that it said. And it comes with a postcard, so I can mail this to somebody. That will totally happen. My favorite thing that came in a Genesis box, I think I've told this story before. Gunstar Heroes came with a fruit roll-up, right?
Yeah.
And my jerk face brother, and I had that fruit roll-up for years.
Stole some of your games though, so I think it's okay. Like, you literally stole his Suikoden 2. Like, I have to hear about that at least once a year when he's like, "Hey man, you thinking Bobby? Tell him to give it my damn game."
I did.
Never gonna see it. It's like I stole my brother's Beast War figures. He every time he comes through my basement, he's like, "Hey, am I ever gonna get those back?" I'm like,
"No."
Yeah, man. You get a wife and kids. You got your own big ass house. You get a family. You can have some back.
You can have some back, maybe. Yeah, Suikoden 2 needed to be with me, but he ate my fruit roll-up, and that cannot be replaced. Like, I cannot buy another fruit roll-up for Gunstar.
That's hilarious. My brother, it's funny about my younger brother, too. My younger brother had a collector's edition of Invader Zim. Came in I don't know if you remember that cartoon. I know some of our viewers do. Came in his house. And it was a DVD collection. Anyway, it went for a lot of money. This bastard threw away the house. I was like, I would have taken it, man. I would have sold it. He's like, I don't have the space for that, man. I don't care about these things. He's digital. He's also a little bit younger than me. He's all digital, and he's like, nah, I don't have the space for it. I like digital, So it is pretty interesting that our younger brothers both are like, I don't give a shit about that.
Oh my god, it drives me nuts. Like there was a while where he would get a game and toss out like the collector's contents, and I would have to retrieve this. Had to retrieve it and save it.
Dug in the trash.
I think I have some like Halo like Reach collector's box that he was tossing out. I don't need that, Bobby. Like, give it to me. I don't have the game, but whatever. Let's see. I see a comment. Did everyone ever buy game strategy books? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Stop.
Before Rob and I come from the age before the internet, right?
So
we did.
Yeah, and I was talking to my children. We were trying to get through, what were they playing? Maybe they were playing like Link's Awakening, or they were playing some adventure game, and they were stuck at a certain part. And they were like, "Daddy, how do we get through such and such? Go look it up." I was like, "Children, back in my day, we had to find Nintendo Power and look it up ourselves." And like,
yeah, back in our day, baby, we had to go get the neighbor. We got the neighbor to go, hey man, y'all heard about the Negaverse or the Negazone on Mario? That's how you learned. It wasn't the internet, it was the neighborhood kids, man. We'd all get together and be like, shit, you can't beat fucking weak ass Wart. I'll come in your house and beat weak ass Wart for you.
And they would make up stuff like, the negative world. Like, that's not real. And then it turns out,
we would make up stuff. But here's something that this is a really good question. My obsession with art books came from strategy guides. Mm-hmm. Like, I had the Final Fantasy strategy guide that came from Nintendo Power, right?
Yep, it's right in there.
You still have it? Okay. That's a wall. You just pointed at. But that's okay.
Valid.
It had, like, I want to say the equivalent of maybe 10 pages of Yoshitaka Amano's artwork.
Yeah.
Right, it was like 400 pages long or something like. Nah, it wasn't that long. I'm sorry. It was probably about 64. It was pretty thick.
Yeah.
But I had that book with me for over a decade, because it was the only way that we could get. Yeah, because I'm dating ours, but it was before the internet. It was before art books, and if you wanted an art book, you had to go to a convention or import it from the back of a magazine that, like, some dude's shady basement.
Yeah.
Right, might mail it to you. But I'm serious. That's the way, like, strategy guides, the reason I started getting into them was to get some of that artwork. Same thing with Dragon Quest. I remember, and then I had
my Dragon Warrior hit guide.
They had the audacity
because I had like a Akira Toriyama art on it. Like, I was like,
wait, that's what I was gonna say. They didn't have Akira Toriyama artwork in the strategy guide I had. They had the audacity to redraw the characters in their vision, or maybe they just didn't want to pay him any money, so they hired some 15-year-old kid.
They specifically wanted to cater to a Western audience, and they were like, "No one wants this Akira Toriyama gorgeous bullcrap. We want like Fabio and buff dudes and like."
Right, they hired models, but anyway, that's what started my obsession, man. Like, with all these art books, was because I love strategy guides, and I almost bought one, honestly, because of that, and it was the Breath of the Wild, because it looks beautiful. The leather bound edition Breath of the Wild.
I did, but I bought the leather edition one. I actually did open that. I did open that because it's freaking gorgeous and has beautiful art and stuff. Like some of those, you'll get me on those. Like if they're leather hard, like hardcover.
Well, remember there was a limited edition treasure chest. It was Link's for Legend of Zelda treasure chest. But anyway, that's another story. Let me get to my last one, and then Rob can.
Yeah, and I have hardware, and then that's it.
Okay. So, Kyle, this is so awesome. I plugged this in. Rob, you will appreciate this.
Dreamcast. Oh wait. Yeah. Oh, no, not Dreamcast, an HDMI modded.
Yes. Yes. The HDMI modded Dreamcast, dude. This. Oh my god! I plugged this in, and the way that it plays, I got to play some of these shooters that I've never heard of, because me, I was a Dreamcast guy, right? He sent me some games too. Redux. This is the collector's edition, and then there's some games like here. You may recognize this because this collection has Gacho's Chikigami 2. Do you remember that? The inside joke between Rob and I.
Ask me if I've opened it. Go ahead.
Never.
Nope. Nope.
So this is something I don't do for myself. I don't go and mod my systems. I'm okay playing things with emulators. But Kyle was like, "Nah, man, fuck that noise. I'm gonna get you some real shit."
Wow.
And he surprised me. I did not see this coming. It's
That's amazing.
beautiful, man. During my Christmas break, the kids were out of town and the wife was working or something. And I'm like, I have nothing to do. I had already recorded shows. I'm like, I'm gonna go plug this thing in, dude. I fired that up. That
We're like, it's a whole
sound
new
came
world.
on. The VGA. He got me a controller with the VGA. Oh, dude, it was like, and I was a little bit older, so I'm not as nostalgic for this as I am like the Sega Saturn, right?
Mm.
Um,
Yeah, I'm the opposite. My two favorite systems ever are the original Nintendo and the Sega Dreamcast. Yeah, I love that
rest in
system.
peace.
They're still making games for it.
Not anymore. I think the last one came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah, the game,
Quit spreading lies. Just because you're on the fucking YouTubes. Wow, I sound like an old man. Just because you're on the YouTubes doesn't mean you can make up
internet,
stuff.
the intersets.
All right. I do have one more gift, but it will be quick to show. But you go ahead
I'm
and
going to talk
show
about
your hardware.
Hardware real quick.
Okay.
This thing I don't have the actual unit. Speaking of making your Dreamcast look beautiful, I like to play Christmas nights on Christmas, and I like to play Dreamcast games as well. And they have output that is not native to HDMI. So you either have to mod your Dreamcast, which is what Omar has done, or you can get something like this called an OSSC, the open source scan converter. So what's cool about this is, and it's cool that you have your Dreamcast, because I literally did exactly the same thing. I plugged my VG output into this box. In this box, are you okay?
I'm just looking at your unfinished product you got there.
No. Like it's open source. Yes, it's absolutely like it's not by a company, although this is a company, but they're whatever. So you plug in your VGA into that, and it outputs to HDMI. And this product is different. I've talked about the Framemeister before. The Framemeister is processing, so it adds maybe a frame, 60 milliseconds of lag. But most games, it's imperceivable. It's fine, unless you're playing like Mike Tyson Punch Out. It's fine. In fact, Punch Out is doable with a Framemeister. There's no frame buffer. There's no lag whatsoever. It is like what you see is what you get, and it's cool for it. And I was using it for a bunch of other projects that I've been working on, and it actually works very well with getting Dreamcast, Saturn, whatever, to your HDMI device. And they're not terribly expensive. So go find yourself an OSSC. So that's one piece of hardware. This. My buddy Travis, shouts out to Travis. He got an extra one of these. I don't know how one gets an extra one, but it's called an RG350. This little Chinese piece of device. This is it is essentially an emulation box. So it comes preloaded with a bunch of emulators, and all you have to do is put an SD card, put some ROMs on, and you're good to go. The emulators are full speed and perfect. There is no frame or screen tearing. Sound is good. The controls are great. So I'm going to load up. We're going to load up. How about Marvel vs. Capcom?
What?
So this little thing.
The system cannot be found. It's blue screen, dude. What is that?
So this little doohickey right here, it plays from Super Nintendo, Genesis, arcade games. I don't remember. Listen to it. So it plays these games at 60 frames a second perfectly. The buttons all work. So these six player games, use the top button.
The games are already built into it?
No, just the emulators. Like you get your own ROM, but you can see it's running this game absolutely perfect. And I can show off Marvel vs. Capcom because
is this the arcade or is this what?
Yeah, this is the arcade version of Marvel vs. Capcom, which I am legally allowed to own because I have Marvel vs. Capcom right here. So don't come at me. Don't at me for stealing ROMs. I have Marvel vs. Capcom.
I did it. I went to try to go get this present off my wall. I forgot. I can't show my last present because we hung it up already.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. Can you aim your camera at it?
No, because it's all the way down the hall.
Oh, I see. All right. So anyway, this is not very expensive. This thing is I think $60, but I've had so much fun. It has a Nintendo emulator, Genesis. I don't have any Game Boy ROMs on here. Super Nintendo, arcade. It's fantastic. The battery life lasts forever. The buttons are great. The screen is absolutely gorgeous. The fact you can see how well it was running earlier.
This is completely legal.
I
Like
bought it
Nintendo
at a store
in China, some dude's basement.
Well, I mean, I didn't buy it, but it's fine. It's fine. It's absolutely fine. And again, perfect emulation. I'm going to show you one more game. This is Last Blade 2. So,
Dude, this is cool. I hate that might be looking for this now.
yeah, it's
Because
not
I
very
don't have enough systems
like who did
that have
I mean,
emulators on them. Because I remember we did this with our PSP. Remember?
the PSP was a fantastic emulator. The Switch with the look at this. Look, I'm getting the feels. And don't at me because I have this game right over there. I dumped it. Yeah, that's what I did. But I have this game, so don't at me. I'm not stealing ROMs.
Wait, go back. Let me show me that again. Show me that screen. You know what sucks though? Is you're never gonna be able to play that 2-player.
Oh well, supposedly. So okay, I'm glad you brought that up. This has USB-C
See?
at the top and has HDMI output, so I can put this on a screen. I can plug in USB controllers. So yes, in theory, I haven't done this yet, but we can play multiplayer games with
On
this
your tiny little screen.
on a TV.
Dude, that's a Switch. That's a Switch.
Yeah, so I mean, like this thing is fantastic.
We need Dan on the show so he can make sure that to say that that's all legal.
It's completely legal. I have the games right over. Emulators themselves are not illegal. It's the acquisition of ROMs. But I have these games, so it's fine. It's fine.
Huh.
So that's some real cool hardware.
That is cool, dude.
Yeah.
What is that thing called again?
This is the RG350. Can you see that?
So how do you dump ROMs on it then?
Well, you find ROMs from a legal source and put
Of
them
course.
on. Oh my God! It popped out a little micro. This is just a 32 gig US micro SD card. This is actually the same SD card that I use. Oh my God, it's gone.
All your games.
All my games.
Bye.
Well, so what I do is this is the other part of the hardware that I was going to talk about. Oh my gosh, it's stuck. Well, that's what you get for buying inexpensive Chinese hardware. Over the holidays, the other thing I got a chance to do is play with these flashcards. Flashcards. Again, this is of dubious nature because please don't just go out and download a bunch of ROMs. That's not what this is all about. Please don't just download the ROMs. But over the holidays, there were a bunch of prototypes that were released for these various systems. So I got a chance to A, sit down and play old classic games, but B, I got a chance to play a prototype for Akira for the Genesis.
I saw that just leaked. That's crazy.
Yeah,
what could have been, right?
Yeah,
what could have been.
It's pretty neat. There's a first-person bike sequence. There's a fighting sequence. It has these cool cutscenes.
Who was it that made it? Who was
it's Sega, and I don't know. It just says Sega. I guess an internal development studio was working with who did Akira? Who is that? What studio is that?
Oh shit, I don't remember.
I don't remember, right?
Streamline dubbed it over, so that's all I remember.
Okay. So say it's an internal Sega thing, I believe. Another prototype that came out was a Sonic 3 prototype that doesn't have the Michael Jackson. Excuse me, not Michael Jackson, but it has some of the music and stages that are wacky.
Oh, that's right. And that's the reason why Sonic 3 apparently is not in the Sega Mini, right?
Yeah,
that's a big thing.
Strange. Although the Sega Genesis Mini, which you should buy, it's $50 right now. You should totally buy it. There was just a hack was released where you can add ROMs, so you can fix that. Oh, that was really the only game that was missing. It was Sonic 3 and Streets of Rage. I think were the only games, and maybe Alien Soda.
Which Streets of Rage did they use?
1 and 2. I don't think they had Streets. Well, I have it right here. Let's see. Streets of Rage 2. Yeah, so they didn't have Streets of Rage.
You haven't opened it. Of course you haven't.
I guess I know. Absolutely.
Didn't we do a show called Justify My Purchase? We need to go back to that again.
Do that again.
And you and I need an intervention.
Maybe. So there's a prototype for Akira, a prototype for Sonic. Some I don't want to say hackers. Smart people smarter than me, were able to modify.
Oh, you mean me?
No, not you at all.
No,
you're an idiot. So you remember Gradius 3 on the Super Nintendo? You remember that game, right? Side scroller, Gradius 3, Konami.
Yeah. I know what it is.
Okay. On the it was one of the first games that came on the Super Nintendo, and it had horrible slowdown. It was because the Super Nintendo processor just wasn't up to snuff for doing this, and it was one of the first games that was released for the system, so the developers hadn't figured out how to optimize the CPU and how to do things. There's no chips in it, whatever, right? Hackers have figured out how to implement the SA1 chip, which is a auxiliary chip that was used in, let's see, what game was SA1 used in? I'm drawing a blank here. There's a couple of games that use that chip for enhanced processing.
FX?
It was like a Super FX chip.
Okay.
So think Yoshi's Island and Mario Kart and Stunt Race FX and Star Fox. It was one of those types of chip games. So no. So the dude figured out to put an SA1 chip in Gradius 3 and use that to help with the processing. So now the game has no slowdown at all. So when you're playing the game, if you remember like stage 2, there's like bubbles bouncing all over the stage,
But
and it
I
was
think
slow down to a
people
crawl.
forget how much that slowdown helped our dumbasses.
So
Right.
like I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play Gradius 3 the way it's meant to be played, like full
You
speed.
got your
So
ass handed to you.
oh my god, it's so hard. I got my booty. I blew up 500 times because like things are bouncing all over the screen. I'm like, oh, my
Yeah.
old man fingers, I can't keep up with it. So it was cool to play like some of these old games. They also did the same thing to Contra 3. There's a couple places. It wasn't quite as bad because Konami figured out how the Super Nintendo works at that point. So there's not as much slowdown in Contra 3, but Gradius 3 slow down all the time. But when that is gone, that game is almost impossible. But it was a lot of fun with these flashcards being able to play like hacks and slashes and like, unreleased prototypes of games. So yeah. And also the last prototype that I played was a wrestling game called UWC. SimCity and UWC for the Nintendo. And that was based on what would eventually be called WCW Wrestling. So it had like Lex Luger and Mr. Perfect and Animal and Hawk and some of these other guys for the Nintendo as a wrestling game. So like it was really fun, like to take Christmas break and play some of these games that have come out that I haven't had a chance to really play around with. So that is my last thing. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you sitting down?
I love this comment. I'd love for the wives, Matt and Maddie's fiance, to be on the show for an intervention.
No, please don't.
I don't
Please
think
don't.
Dan is allowed. Like, I remember Dan, we had that idea about a year ago, and Dan was like, nope, not going to happen. You guys want me to die? No.
Nope. Can't do that. So this is the
All right,
last piece of hardware. Let's do the hardware. Here we go. We're running a little bit late, but do you know what this is?
I can't tell because it's still in a plastic.
I'll take the plastic off. There.
Oh, a Sega Saturn game system.
Nope. This is a Saturn controller. This is completely excessive. So this controller is
wireless.
It's wireless.
Where did you get that?
A company called Castlemania. Not Castlevania, Castlemania.
Those guys are going to get sued. Okay.
So what's cool about this controller is, now, as you know, anyone who knows, the greatest controller ever made is this thing right here, the Japanese Sega Saturn controller.
Absolutely. Especially if you're in a fighting game, side scrollers. Oh, best.
That's it. This is perfection. So this company, they released and this is not Bluetooth, this is 2.4 gigahertz. So there's no, like, Bluetooth has a little milliseconds of lag. This is 2.4 gigahertz, there's no lag. And it has a connector for an actual Saturn. So I would plug this into my Saturn, or in my case, my arcade hardware Super Gun. And it also came with another dongle that is USB. So I could use this on PC,
anything,
Switch,
or emulators.
Emulator, whatever, PlayStation 4, 3, whatever, Xbox. So this is super stoked about this, and this beautiful crystal see-through blue plastic.
I have to ask, how much was that?
This was not insanely expensive. I think it was $30. It's not crazy.
Really?
And
that's a Chinese knockoff.
So I feel like, you remember the movie The Wizard where he comes up and
with the power glove?
Power glove. Like, I feel like this is me being like, oh, we're going to play some games now. Let's play Street Fighter 02 with this controller. This is the way.
Matthew, I love you, man, but that's... No. Of course, we're console boys. Even though we grew up in the arcades, like we consoles... And by the time the Sega Saturn, not the original controller, but the Japanese controller that they later brought to America, they had perfected the fighting game pad. Oh, it is wonderful. Your thing's like beeping or something.
Oh yeah, I need to plug it in. But like, there's a little piece of it says "I heart." I don't know what that is. Sega. I have no idea. There's a Japanese. You can kind of see that. I don't know what that says. I just now noticed it because I took off the plastic, which I'm promptly going to put back on and preserve forever.
Stupid. All right.
That's it for me. I'm out.
Time is up for us, but I do have a question. What is the game you're looking forward to the most in 2020? And I don't want to say the most. I mean, just because I really don't know. I haven't been keeping up with releases because I get my games like a year, 2 years, 3 years later. But I am going through my backlog, man. I've been reading comics and playing my video games.
That's good. And again, this Christmas break was really good for me because I got a chance to actually play games. And no narcs on the show. Snitches get stitches. Amen, somebody. to play games.
Hmm.
So it was good to go back and like finish Dragon Quest and like finish Star Wars or start Star Wars and God of
The
War
new
and
game.
Spider-Man like that. Yeah, the new ones, and which is really good, like, really good game. It's Respawn Titanfall, guys. It's great. So what am I looking forward to most in 2020?
Yeah.
The Shy Warrior Resident Evil 2 remake and the original. I played it. I beat Resident Evil 2 remake. Sure did.
Look at Rob, beat 2
And-
games last year.
Stab you in the face. I also beat Red Dead. That's those 3. And I went through it with Claire and then again as Leon because there's a different story arc, right? But I had to do Claire first because she's fine. So what games I'm looking forward to in 2020? Resident Evil 3 remake was announced. So
That's so cool. And it's right around the corner too, right? Like it'll be in 2020.
April.
Wow,
which is
that's crazy.
how fast that is. And I was like, okay, I just beat Resident Evil 2. Y'all need to like let me continue to gloat that I finished the game, right? So look forward to that. Breath of the Wild 2 supposedly is going to come out this year.
Wow, that's quick.
Maybe. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
No, not really. The first one came out in 2017.
Yeah, but they just recently announced it. I'm used to announcing Final Fantasy VII remake, 5 years ago, and then or Kingdom Hearts 3 10 years ago, and then finally coming out with the game.
So there's another one, Final Fantasy VII Remastered. Even though I've given Final Fantasy VII a lot of grief over the years, like I'm looking forward to playing it.
My wife is excited about it. My wife is excited to play it.
Yeah, it goes to like Midgar and then it stops. So like I was hoping it would go to like the original Final Fantasy VII games. You kids don't know about Final Fantasy VII. The original one had 3 discs, 3 CDs. So I was hoping that okay, they're going to do it in 3, like to coincide with 3 CDs. No. Getting to Midgar is not even the end of the first disc. So we're going to be playing Final Fantasy VII for a long freaking time. So,
PlayStation 5, baby. PlayStation 5 exclusive.
Absolutely. But the game I'm looking forward to
The most.
Animal Crossing. Not Animal Crossing.
Liar.
The game I'm looking forward to most is The Last of Us 2.
Oh, that was my pick, you bastard.
I'm so sorry.
I said pick one game and you chose like 8.
The Last of Us 2 is the one game I have to pick.
Yeah.
Like, by any of this year, it'd be The Last of Us 2.
That's
since
the
you're
game.
Say that, I'll say instead, I will say Resident Evil 3, even though that's not the right answer. Go ahead, talk about The Last of Us.
So I'm very excited for it because The Last of Us 1 was one of the few games that I actually wanted to platinum. Like I did everything. The downloadable, everything. I 100%ed it. Beat it in the hardest mode. My God, I love that game. It was so good.
Yeah, I bought that game. I played through that game when my daughter was like really teeny tiny. Like my first kid popped out.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough when you have kids.
Dude, I cried.
It's rough when you don't have kids and you love
children.
Like
if you're a person,
whatever,
with like a beating heart,
feelings. If you have, feelings, right? You have a beating heart.
Okay,
right.
So I can't say Resident Evil 3 because I am looking forward to that. I'm going to say Cyberpunk. Like that's the other game I'm.
The Keanu Reeves game.
Keanu Reeves game. Super stoked about Cyberpunk. So all right, there you go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So for me, it's Last of Us 2. It was either that or Trials of Mana.
Oh yeah, I keep
which is a remake. It's a remake of Second Densetsu 3.
Yes,
so
that's right.
The one that never came out to America, but it comes out I think in April sometime.
Yeah, it's pretty soon.
The pre-order was live, man. It was like $35, and now it's gone up to $50. So
really,
yeah.
Jeez. Yeah, I pre-ordered that, and I keep thinking like it's out but the collection of Mana that has Second December 3 in it is what's actually released.
What's up? That's my buddy right there, Matt. What's going on, Matt?
Up Zero the Hero. Out. Yeah, The Last of Us is like okay. As much, and I'm going to say this. I don't mean to sound racist, but I am a black man who loves to play Japanese games, right? So
how's that racist?
Because you said in the beginning of this episode that you're not into Western RPGs and Western games. I'm not either. But some of my favorite games...
But that Last of Us is not a Western RPG.
No, it's not a Western RPG, but it's a Western developed game.
So
and some of my favorite games, like this decade, have been like Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto, and The Last of Us. So, like, these Western studios are really...
None of those are Western RPGs.
That's what I'm
talking
saying.
About things like Elder Scrolls, that kind of style. Dragon Age.
Those are good games. The Witcher 3, like those are good games. But like Western games, I usually had a slant. I usually played Japanese games, like that's usually my thing. But there's been so many fantastic Western games, like The Last of Us and Last of Us 2.
Oh yeah, I'm not knocking the Western video games. I mean, they gave us phenomenal games like Pac-Man and
That's Japanese.
Vector Man and
That's Western.
Mega Man,
That's
the
Japanese.
Wily Wars.
Japanese. But like, the fact that Matt here says that The Last of Us is one of my top 10 games of all time. The Last of Us is in my top 10, and you think my top 10 would include Castlevania, Resident Evil, Japanese stuff, Zelda, Mario. But I'm pretty sure Last of Us is in that list for me. That's how good it is. Best to put a pin on how excited I am for The Last of Us 2 coming out in May.
Yeah, those guys are all. Because Uncharted is among some of my favorite games.
Mm-hmm.
God of War. I mean, they're not Western RPGs though. They're just Western developed games.
Western studios have really
Uncharted, dude. That's crazy. Naughty Dog, right?
Naughty Dog.
Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot.
How did that happen?
Let me tell you that happened. Dedication.
All right, here we go. NMC hates Western games. Make that a hashtag. Confirmed.
I just said how Red Dead Redemption 2.
You never start a sentence with "I don't want to sound racist" or anything.
But every time you start a sentence,
look, the hashtag movement has started.
Black people cannot be racist, so it's fine.
There goes our viewers.
Well,
thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us.
Rob does not speak for near-mint condition ever, nor for his family, and sometimes not
everything
for
I
himself.
say does not represent anything.
Pretty much, yes. He doesn't represent anybody. Gun Media Studio, wherever he's working. All right. What's Ghost of Tsushima?
That is Sucker Punch. So the guys who did Infamous, it is their, speaking of racism, it is their implementation of a Japanese game. And they recently showed off footage at the Game Awards? Yes, at the Game Awards. And it looks really cool. So it's about a samurai dude who chops up people. It looks, I'm shortchanging, I realize, but like legit.
What's up, Max?
Great. And I assume it's going to play great because Sucker Punch, those are strong. The show, at the end of the show, the way it deserves, to be honest. All right.
Yeah.
Sucker Punch, they're a great studio, and Ghost of Tsushima has been like churning for a while. It was at E3 like 2 years ago. So I'm super hyped about that. It keeps getting pushed back because I think it's getting pushed back because The Last of Us 2 keeps getting pushed back. But it should be really, really good. I'm looking forward to it. Looks great. Go Google it.
Okay.
YouTube it.
Okay.
All right.
So there you have it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this early Tuesday morning.
On a Tuesday.
Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe button.
Remember that gamers who play together stay together. So keep gaming.
Is that your thing? That's your thing?
Games who play together stay together.
Whatever.
Yeah.
What he said. You can find us on Redbubble, and we can also be found on Patreon as
Smash that notification icon so you get new content the second we drop it.
Yes. And Maddie and I will be on tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time talking about the Absolute Swamp Thing, Volume 1. So stay tuned for that.
Max, we have a recording. I'm sorry that you got in late, but you're not late. You're just on time.
Yeah, Rob's always late.
I was on time.
No.
All right.
You all have a good day. Thank you for joining us.
Peace. Thank you much.